Let's get more analysis now on the Syria talks underway in Vienna, and we're joined from Beirut by Renad Mansour. He is a fellow at the Carnegie Middle East Center. Thanks so much for joining us. I'd like to begin by asking you what you think the best possible outcome for this meeting is, given how many parties are involved and how many interests are at stake.
Yes, that's a good question. Thank you. I think that the best possible outcome, given that expectations are very low from the meetings, is just to reach some form of understanding of what the other side wants. Without any sort of dialogue, without any sort of negotiation, you're only at best guessing the policy stances, the security points, the bargaining ranges of all the parties. So the best possible outcome to these negotiations is finally reaching some form of understanding, the US understanding Iran, Saudi Arabia understanding Iran, Iran understanding Saudi Arabia, of where the bargaining space is, where interests lie, and where concessions could possibly be made. That would be a positive outcome to these initial, very preliminary meetings.
So should the Syrian government and/or the opposition have been included at these talks?
Yeah, and this is one of the tragedies of the entire conflict, and it's very indicative of what once was a local conflict that has now become such an international conflict with all of these external actors that are deciding the fate. Now, keep in mind that the role of these negotiations isn't to solve Syria, but I think more for all the external actors who clearly have a role in Syria to try and find some form of compromise or position where they can meet. Of course, the Syrians should be involved in the formation of their government, in the formation of their future government, both the opposition and the government, sure. But at the moment, I think the point of these talks is for those international coalitions and international actors to really try and understand what their role is in the future of Syria. And unfortunately, because of how globalized or internationalized this conflict is, they do have a say.
Okay. Most recently, out of this meeting, Russia has requested that the Syrian opposition prepare for talks with Assad. Do you think that may be at least where part of the solution lies here, in meetings independent of foreign powers?
Perhaps, yes, perhaps, but it just seems that, it's been, how many years of this conflict, the traumas that each side has inflicted, the experiences that they've gone through, it's really hard to see the sides coming to the table in some form of rational, negotiations where decisions can be made and compromises can be made. It seems like the demands are too far at the moment for the Syrian sides to come together, but that's not to say that this is impossible. And perhaps if, with the help of perhaps some external actors, they could be pushed to, come up with some sort of agreements or an ability to move to the negotiating table for a Syria-made solution to their own problem.
Okay, Renad Mansour, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us.